Hi there, welcome to the Perfume Experience. My name is Rodney, and today we are going to do a video review about a fragrance house that we did speak recently. I'm talking about Fraglay. We had the Discovery set unboxing, so I also have another full fragrance that we can now do a review about and find out how are they in terms of their scent profile, their presentation, and are they worth the money, right? So on that note, let's get started. So Fraglay has a house, is relatively a new house which is basically selling inspired fragrances. So if you look at their website, they're talking about how you can buy inspired fragrances of designer houses or of niche houses, right? So now in the initial run, I had a discovery set that I got which kind of looks like this, which is basically got about 5 fragrances of 8 ml each, right? So this is how the discovery set looks like. And then I also got this standalone box which is of a 50 ml volume. Now if you look at the packing, is really good. You have this nice full top box that you get, and then of course you have the box itself, and then you have that nice velvety finish, and then you have the packing, right? So in terms of packing and presentation, that they've done a really good job, and I kind of like the bottles as well. Pretty decent, good bottles, and nice stickering in terms of naming convention. They have done very well. So for example, this is Floral Vetiver 5, which is inspired from Chanel number 5. And then if I look at the other fragrances that I have, this is Millennium number 1, which is basically inspired from 1 million of Paco Rabanne. And then you also have Baccarat Rouge 540, which is here Oak Moss Saffron 540. Okay. Then I have Sauvage Elixir. Okay, now this is Sauvage Elixir. Okay, so pretty close inspiration in terms of name. And then this is Aqua Digio. Okay, and this is Aquatic DG. Okay, and of course the last one is this is Amory Eros, which is also Versace Eros, right? So these are the fragrances that I got. Now I've used them quite extensively to understand how the scent profile is, how the performance is, and all of that. So let's talk about scent profile. Now when we talk about inspired fragrances, what I can tell is that they're well inspired, so to say. At least you get about 75% to 80% on some, close to about 85 to 90% on the on some, right? So the balance is, I would say, about at least 75 to 80% in terms of the DNA of the original is what is inspired or aspired to be given on this particular fragrances, and that way they've done pretty decently well, right? So if you look at one of my favorites has been 1 million. So so let's say for example either 1 million, which is right here, okay, and Versace Eros, the scent profile is really good. While in the 1 million it kind of opens more on the citrusy note and then transitions into that cinnamon bomb which the fragrance is known for. So that is captured well. Okay, now in terms of Eros, the opening is very nice, and the dry down has got that nice minty, clubbing vibe that you get. That is also pretty good. Aqua Digio actually is a very nice citrusy fragrance, opens very well and continues on that DNA, and performance is also very good. Now if I were to consider the weakest of the lot that I at least got to experience was Sauvage Elixir. So for me this was more sweeter, whereas the Sauvage Elixir is actually more tobacco, ambery kind of a fragrance. That is not what this was, at least. Baccarat Rouge was, I would say it's okay. It's at least about 60-70% of the DNA. You kind of go nose blind on this very soon, so I couldn't enjoy this very much. Now if I look at Floral Vetiver number 5, this is Chanel, and it opens on a flory note, let's say white flowers, a lot of those white flowers, and then the white flowers move into the powdery dry down. So that's the scent profile on this one. Now the good thing is, at this price point you do not experience alcohol blast. Okay, so that's something that's really nice. So when you put in this particular fragrance, you don't get that alcohol blast, but you have that slight element of synthetic vibe to it, which I think is okay at this price point. Right now, in some of the fragrances are like, if you talk about Eros for example, it's really nice in terms of how the DNA opens up. Now in terms of the scent profile, so I kind of explained how each one is close, how exactly or how very much close to the OG or in terms of the DNA. The good thing that I liked is this scent profile is captured well. it is not got that alcohol blast, so that is something that you can definitely skip. So that is a good thing to have, that it smells very nice and neat and very well done. Now let's talk about projection and performance. Now when I talk about performance, first of all, if I talk about performance, and I would say the weak ones are here. Okay, so floral vetiver, for example, 3.5-4 hours. Baccarat Rouge 3.5-4 hours. Sauvage Elixir also about 3.5-4 hours. This is on apparel, so skin you might get about 3 hours. In the first 1 hour it's really little loud, and then after that it kind of sobers down. So the other three that I experienced, which is basically Acqua di Gio, Versace Eros, and then of course 1 million, these are good performance. Okay, so when I say good performance on apparel, I was able to get at least Acqua di Gio at least 8 hours. Okay, so even 1 million at least 7 to 8 hours on apparel, and so is the case with Eros. So performance wise, they were good in terms of lasting. So easily some of them lasted good about 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours, and some of them straight down to 3.5 hours to 4 hours, right? So very halfway across, some are great and some are not so great types, right? Now in terms of projection, I would say these three, and if I include even Baccarat Rouge, for example, they project well. In fact, I think projection, at least on the first 1 to 1.5 hours, is there for all of them. Okay, so they are all loud that way. They are not light, mild kind of fragrance. They are when you put them on, you kind of smell them immediately. In fact, I had got a compliment for Baccarat Rouge on my first wear itself. But I personally kind of really liked 1 million and Versace Eros, and of course Acqua di Gio in terms of the loudness. When you kind of put this on, you get a very nice scent profile, and that blast of citrusy, fruity notes is straight off. So good 1.5 hours time at least you will experience that slight loudness. Okay, and in terms of projection, I would say about 2 to 3 feet. Not very beast mode fragrance, but they're not mild at least. Okay, so they are pretty decently loud in terms of the way they are developed, right? Now on the whole, if I were to look at in terms of the pricing, now the Discovery set, for example, 8 ml into 5, you get it for 999 is the MRP, but I think you're getting it for about 600 or 700 rupees, and the 50 ml you can get easily for about 999. Now if you consider that, and if you look at that, they come with 25% to 30% concentration, and with the scent profile that they have, I would say it's a very good value for money kind of a product, because it's pretty decent in terms of scent profile. Now performance is a miss here and there, but then again, this is a new house, so they're adding new fragrances every day, so I'm sure that things will change over time. Otherwise, if you want to experience fragrances at let's say 600-700 rupees, and you want to get a good idea of the DNA that is there on niche and designer fragrances, this is a decent place to start, because 75% to 80% DNA of the OG is not a bad thing at all at that price point, right? So that is my thought about Fraglay's Discovery set and the fragrance. Definitely this is one of the fellow fragates who's doing this, so kudos to him for doing this particular brand. And I see a lot of ads and a lot of activity that's happening in terms of marketing, and they've done some things really, really well, especially if you consider the packaging, the pull-up box, okay, the naming convention, the materials used to pack the box, the fragrances, those things are done really, really well. It's not at least coming in one of those just paper boxes just inside that, that kind of thing is not done. So there is some amount of detailed work that's being looked at. So that way I feel this might be definitely one of those houses that might do well in the future. So kudos to that. And if you like the content that I bring, please like and subscribe, and follow me for more such videos. If you want to watch comparison videos between the OGs and alts, click on the playlist. But otherwise, follow me on Instagram and YouTube. My name is Rodney. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye now.